Coming up on today's show, we got 2 new delicious zucchini recipes. Don't know what to do with yours in your house? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitber.
And I'm Laverne Didi.
And we got some zucchini recipes. I can't wait for the chowder because a zucchini chowder just seems very appealing to me.
It is.
And for our zucchini cake today, I know we've made a zucchini cake in the past, but this has a little bit different twist with cream cheese filling.
Yes, it's got a cream cheese filling in there and a delicious frosting with marshmallows and chocolate chips. So doesn't that sound good?
So you can't even taste the zucchini.
Oh, no, it just makes it nice and moist.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to get started. We want to start with the cake first because we don't want to get that in the oven.
Okay.
I already put the oven on to 350 degrees.
Okay.
Or 350, and so we're going to come over here and we're going to get started, and we're going to mix our cake and get that in the oven, and while that's baking, we're going to make our zucchini garden chowder.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, oh, whoops, there we go. We're going to start with 1 3/4 cup sugar.
Okay.
And a 1/2 cup of oil. And 1/2 cup of butter, or your stick of butter.
Right.
And we're going to just cream that a little bit before we put in a couple of eggs and the rest of the ingredients. This recipe calls for 1/2 cup of sour milk or 1/2 cup of buttermilk.
Okay.
I didn't have the buttermilk, so you just take milk and put like a tea cup. I put 2 teaspoons of vinegar in there, and you're going to get your sour milk. You don't have to go out and buy a carton of buttermilk if you're only going to use a 1/2 cup. So.
Well, that's a helpful tip. I wouldn't have not known that.
You didn't know you could make sour milk, huh?
Did not know that.
Okay. Rather
to me, sour milk would be leave it out for 2 days and you're going to get chunky sour milk.
You would. I don't think that's quite the sour milk you want. Okay, so we're going to get this creamed here. And I had the butter out so it was nice and soft, and so it doesn't take very long just to cream that up a little bit.
Okay.
And then I know it asks for 2 eggs. We're going to just cream that just a couple of more seconds. One thing we had talked about, with cake, like you're making a cake mix. You don't want to overbeat cake mix or any cake, because the longer you beat it, the crumblier it gets. It falls apart.
Okay.
So, you just want to mix it until it's thoroughly mixed, but not overly, don't overbeat it.
Okay.
So now we're going to add 2 eggs.
Is that mainly, we just were creaming the mixture with the butter and the cream cheese, but with the eggs, is that where you don't want to overbeat it?
Well, no, you want to mix your eggs well yet. It's when you put the flour, your dry ingredients in that.
Okay.
That's when you don't want to overdo it.
Okay.
So we put 1 egg in there. And we'll put the other egg in. And just get that mixed up. And then we're going to add the zucchini into it next.
Okay.
And it's 2 cups of zucchini. And when you're, like I said, grating your zucchini, if you have a little bit more or you don't have exactly 2 cups, I don't think that's going to make a big difference.
Okay.
But I got to get this out. I did pack it well, so I know I got 2 cups of zucchini.
2 packed cups.
Yeah. But even if you have a little bit more, zucchini is just, it's amazing what you can do with zucchini. It doesn't really have a taste, but it just is a good filler. It makes the cake so moist and that. So, just like, if you do zucchini breads or muffins, anything like that, it's wonderful. So we're just going to beat that up a little bit here.
Well, and we're right in the midst of zucchini season now, with people at work saying, zucchini, come take it.
Right.
So now you have a recipe to make
Yeah.
with it.
And I've heard at times when people have had so much zucchini, you didn't dare leave your car unlocked because if you didn't have it locked, you'd come out and you'd find a couple of zucchini in your car. So one way to get rid of it.
You're not getting robbed, you're getting put upon.
That's right. Okay. And you know, one thing nice, you can grate your zucchini and freeze it.
Yes.
You know, and it seems like most recipes ask for 2 cups. So, you know, packages in 2 cups is probably about perfect. So now we're going to, well, it says to alternate your flour and cocoa and that with your half a cup of milk. And it asks for a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to just put a little bit of teaspoon in my milk here, so when I'm alternating, I don't have to worry about trying to put a little bit of vanilla in and a little bit of flour, so we'll just do that. I'm going to add just a little bit of my milk first, and then I'm going to add some of my other dry ingredients.
Sure.
So it says 2½ cups of flour. So I'm going to put about half of that in there. And it asks for a 1/4 cup of cocoa. So I'll just put about half of that in there. And you know, it would be just as simple if you put your dry ingredients in a bowl and just mixed them all together. But being we're talking about the quantities you're using, I thought it'd be easier that people will know what quantities we have by putting in and alternating it like that. So, and it asks for a teaspoon of baking soda, and that I'm going to just add all at once. And then it says a teaspoon of salt. So let's get that mixed up a little bit here, and then we'll be.
So you just don't have the big poof of
That's right.
flour smoke coming out.
Right. So you want to put it on slowly. Okay, we got that mixed in there, and I'm going to put the rest of my milk in there. And again, you know, because of the liquid, you don't want to put it on with the poof of flour. Wouldn't be as bad as a splash of sour milk. Okay, got that mixed up there. So I'm going to put the rest of my dry ingredients in. And we'll set this to the side. And the rest of my flour. Okay, so then what we're going to do, and you can go ahead and spray the pan.
Okay.
We're going to put half of our cake batter in there, and then we're going to whip up the cream cheese filling.
Okay.
And we're going to put that on top, and then we'll put the rest of the batter on before baking it. So.
Okay.
So I'm going to just get this scraped here and get that all in there. Make sure it's just mixed well, but okay. I'll get that cleaned off a little bit here because we'll be using this beater to mix up the cream cheese.
Okay.
And because that's just going to go right over the chocolate cake, there's no reason to wash this beater because it's going to taste the same anyway, correct? You know, so, okay. I'm going to go ahead and it makes a nice, generous cake. It's going to be, you know, pretty.
And it looks pretty light and fluffy.
Well, right, yes. And looks like we got a little bit here on the side. I'll just spread that over. And that looks about like And because I need my bowl to mix up my cream cheese, we're going to go ahead and put it in here, the rest of the batter. You know, this one here, you know, yes, you have a couple of extra steps, maybe, you know, versus, you know, one that you're not putting the cream cheese filling in it, but it's going to be worth it.
Well, of course.
Every little step is going to be worth that extra taste there. So we're going to go ahead and we start with 8 ounces of cream cheese.
Okay.
And I did take that out a little bit, you know, earlier so it would soften a little bit.
Okay. I know when baking, the regular cream cheese always just seems to bake better instead of using a low fat or a no fat.
It does. It definitely does make a difference. So 8 ounces there, then it calls for a 1/4 cup of sugar,
Okay.
1 egg. So we'll put that egg in here and make sure everything is good before we put it in our cream cheese. And then it asks for 2 tablespoons of butter.
Okay.
And this here other butter is for our frosting. So
Okay.
we're going to be saving that. And 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. In there. There. Didn't have that quite. And 2 tablespoons of milk.
Okay.
So we're going to just put that on low here and just really cream that together to have a nice creamy consistency to spread over our cake here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we've beaten our cream cheese and that really, like, now this is one thing you can't overbeat. You know, you want to,
cheese?
right. The longer you beat it, the fluffier it's going to get, the lighter and that. So
Okay.
you want to beat this well if you can. I mean, the days that we didn't have electric mixers, I don't know what we did, but somehow we got by with it. We
Got
just
strong arms.
yeah, we used more muscle power with that. So
Well, there was 8 girls in your family. You just took turns.
right, yeah. So now we're going to just take this and just spread that, and it has a nice smooth consistency. It's not real stiff, so it's easy to spread
Okay.
on there. So let's turn the pan around. You must have practiced. You did that so well.
Well, I can do some things. Not involving sharp objects or burning myself.
Yeah, right, yeah. Well, it's nice to be able to work with your daughter and be able to give her grief and get away with it. But
Well, I don't want to dishearten people that actually watch the show of some of the things that you've done either. So we'll just let them think that you do this all perfectly and never make a mistake.
right, it's amazing what the viewers don't see. Is that right?
That's right.
Now we're going to just take the rest of that cake batter and just spread it over there. And then we'll get started with our zucchini garden chowder while
Okay.
this bakes, because like I said, this takes an hour to bake, so it's lengthy.
It is,
But-
but I mean,
yeah.
this is a pretty big cake, actually. I mean, it's going to be thick, and
It is.
you don't want to underbake a cake.
Yeah. You know, and like I said, in the same respect, you don't want to overbake it. But the thing is, with a zucchini cake and with that zucchini in, it's going to be pretty hard to overbake that it would get dry. So, okay.
Okay.
So we have that. So let's just get that in the oven there. Okay, and I said we'll go ahead and set the timer for 60 minutes there. Okay, and as long as we're right here, we're going to get started with our garden zucchini garden chowder.
Okay.
We start with a 1/3 cup butter, and we're going to saute the zucchini and onions and some parsley and basil. And you don't need to make another pan dirty. Just do it all in your Dutch oven that you're going to use for your soup.
Okay.
And this doesn't take very long at all. In fact, we'll probably have this done before our
cake is ready.
cake is done. Yes. So I'm going to get that melted. And this here, it asks for the zucchini, the onions, and then we're going to add corn. I'm going to use a package of frozen corn. I don't have fresh corn, but say if you have fresh corn, it asks for about 10 ounces. You can cut off your cobs and use your fresh corn.
Sure.
And also it says to use like a 14.5 ounce can of canned tomatoes. I have some fresh tomatoes, so I cut those up.
Okay.
So when you're able to use fresh and you want to use that up, the canned is for later. But now when the season is in,
Use fresh when you can.
absolutely. It asks for 2 medium chopped zucchini. I peel some of it, I peel it lightly. I didn't peel it all the way.
Okay.
And, you really wouldn't even have to peel it all if you didn't want to. So we're going to add the 2 medium zucchinis. And with the zucchini, what I would suggest is, don't use a really large one. Then they get seedier and they're not near as good. You want the smaller zucchini.
Okay.
That, you don't have those seeds in it. And that's the kind of zucchini you want for, eating, like frying, making fritters or whatever.
Okay.
And your big zucchini, that's what you grate for your cakes or breads or whatever. Because if you don't want your zucchini in a day, you're going to have it start here and you're like this. So, and then 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped parsley.
Okay.
And then it says a teaspoon of dried basil. So we're going to chop there. I put that in. And then 1 medium onion cut. So we'll put that in there. And like I said, we're just going to saute that for a little bit.
Okay.
Just until your vegetable, your zucchini and onions are getting a little bit little tender.
Sure.
And this is going to make a nice serving for 8 to 10 people. Nice
Okay.
helpings. So, a
Company
good
chowder.
company chowder, absolutely.
Well, I get asked all the time at work when we're filming something, what we do with all the leftovers. And I said, really, there are no leftovers.
Not too much. I get that comment too. What do you do with all that food? It looks like we got a lot of food, but there's a few of us around here. I says, Rhonda gets to take some home, and our cameraman gets a little lucky too. Sometimes we send him some.
Yep.
And that he's a bachelor, but he is a wonderful cook. So, I try to make sure that mine is up to his standards too.
He hasn't commented badly
No, he
on
usually,
anything that we make.
yeah, he usually brings back the empty containers, so we have them ready to go for some more.
Right.
To fill them up. All right, our zucchini and onions look like they're nice and tender. So the next thing we're going to add is a 1/3 cup all-purpose flour. So we're going
Okay.
to just sprinkle that in there. And just mix that up. And it asks for a teaspoon of salt and about a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper.
Okay.
But I'm going to refrain from putting the salt in because it asks for 3 bouillon cubes.
That's got a lot of
And-
salt in it.
Well, but I'm actually going to use my chicken base because I don't have bouillon cubes, and that has a little bit more salt than if you had the regular bouillon cubes.
Okay.
So we can always add that later. So there, now I'm going to add, it says 3 cups of water here, so we're going to add that in there. Just stir that up. And you just want to get your flour before I put that in, and it doesn't take long to stir that, and you know, it dissolves, so I mean, it doesn't get lumpy or anything like that.
Okay.
So we have that in there, and then I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons of my chicken flavored base here,
Okay.
you know, there. And like I said, because that is a little bit saltier, we're going to refrain from adding that. And now it says a teaspoon of lemon juice.
Okay.
We're going to just put a little bit on here. There we go. That looks like about a teaspoon. And get that heated up here. And like I said, this really does go quite quickly. It doesn't take too long at all.
So when we're talking chowder, chowder just is telling us that it's not soupy, it's not liquidy. It's going to be more of a
Cream base.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
It is. So we have that in there, and then we add a can of evaporated milk.
Okay.
Just your evaporated milk. So you can see the flour is going to give it a little bit of thickening, and now, you know, with your milk, your condensed milk, and then I'm going to add, well, we're just going to heat that up a little bit here more, and then I'm going to add my tomatoes and corn.
Okay.
So you can see it goes fast. It's something
It's just
that,
mainly going to be cook time. Just
Yeah, and
having it simmering for a while so it
right,
cooks
and you
thoroughly.
know, it only says to simmer, I believe, like 5 minutes after you have everything in. It comes to a boil and just simmer 5 minutes. That's not very
it's
long.
not very long at all.
No, because, you know, we've already sauteed our zucchini and onions, so those vegetables are soft.
Okay.
And you add tomatoes, whether they're canned or fresh, you know, it's going to be
Heat them, basically.
heat up. That's correct. So then, so I'm going to add my tomatoes. And like I said, I used some fresh tomatoes because I had them. And then it asks for 10 ounces of frozen corn. So we're going to add that in there. And then we just heat this up, and then we add 2 cups of cheddar cheese
Oh,
and a 4th cup of Parmesan cheese.
awesome.
So,
Cheesy
But-
chowder.
yes, you look at this and it's just good. You see the zucchini, and having some zucchini unpeeled in there, and you have that green and the red and all that. It's looks
pretty.
good. It is. And they say half of the, you know, the palate is vision. So, you know, when you see that and how good that looks. So we're gonna just want to get that heated up here, and then we're gonna add our cheese and have that melted,
All right.
and we're gonna be ready to go.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
if you were making these 2 things, I mean, you definitely would be able to serve your chowder, and by the time the cake was done, you'd be serving that warm.
Oh, and that would be the best. Absolutely.
All right.
But even some that's been there for a day, if it makes it a day, will be excellent. So we're going to just leave this here, heat that up, and we'll be back to our soup shortly.
Sounds great.
Okay, our soup here, or our chowder, is nice and hot. So we're going to add a package of cheddar cheese.
Okay.
And, you know, I've got mild, but, you know, I think sharp cheddar cheese would be very good also. So
Okay.
it says 2 cups, and this is exactly 2 cups.
All right.
So we're going to add that in there and get that melted. So that, and all you have to do after you put the cheese in, once that's melted, it's ready to serve.
All right.
And then it says a 4th cup of Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to see if I can make that 4th cup. That was a 4th, and we're going to put a pinch in. Just for that, we'll get that melted. And then it says, you know, you can put just a pinch of sugar in.
Okay.
And what that and that's optional. You know, definitely taste it first. But, you know, some tomatoes are very acidy,
Okay.
and that will help cut this acidity. You know, I said if I wasn't going to say that, but, you know, with your acid, and
We all
that's
know what
why,
you're talking about.
yeah. So we will just look at that cheese is already melted, and look at how nice and creamy that soup is.
It
It's
looks
just,
wonderful.
Just a great soup, and this didn't take, but, you know, I think from start to finish, just chopping your zucchini and onions, I think you can have this done easily in a half hour.
Oh, yes.
So that will be a quick supper you know,
Yes.
to do. So like I said, I'm going to just add, well, I'll put a little bit of sugar in here, maybe about a teaspoon or so.
Okay.
And that, so we're going to just turn that off, and our cake, you know, should be done shortly. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over and we're going to make the frosting for our cake while this
Okay.
is, you know, we're waiting for that. You know, it asks for a cup of sugar,
Okay.
and I'm going to do this in my microwave versus, you know, on the stove with the kettle.
Okay.
And I think it's always easier. And then it asks for a 1/4 cup butter.
You do quite a bit of things in the microwave versus always doing them on the stovetop.
I do. I like that. You know, you don't burn it as easily and stuff. And it says a 1/4 cup of milk.
Okay.
So we'll get that in there. And we're going to just put this in the microwave and get that melted and kind of boiling a little bit. And then this is where we're going to add then the marshmallows and the chocolate chips.
All right.
So we'll put that in here. And I'm going to start it at about 2 minutes.
Okay.
And then we'll check what that looks like. And if we need to add more, we can do that.
Sure.
So, okay, I just took this out of the microwave. What I did, I had put it in for 2 minutes. It wasn't quite enough. I put it in for about another 1.5 minutes.
Okay.
Because it does say to boil it for a minute.
Okay.
And so with the additional 1.5 minutes, it was boiling and stuff, so it should be ready to go. So we're going to put a cup of marshmallows in here.
Okay.
And whatever I have left in this bag goes in. So we're going to stir that up there, because those will melt
Yes.
with that heat there. And get that, and then it just says, you know, just stir till it's, you know, not glossy anymore.
Okay.
So I just want to get the marshmallows just going in there, getting that melted, and then we'll add our chocolate chips. And that's ready then to put over our cake once that is finished baking.
Perfect.
So you can see how that just melts up. That's hot. So just about here.
That's about
Well,
done.
that took what, all of 30 seconds? So let's add the cup of chocolate chips.
Okay.
And I'm using the semi-sweet. You could use milk chocolate if you want, but my favorite is the bitter or the semi-sweet. I don't use too much with, you know, the milk chocolates, but it's a matter of preference. So you can just see with that chocolate chips in there, it's just,
It's all done already.
yeah, getting nice and thick here. So that's going to be easy to put over that cake. And doesn't look, we don't have too many minutes left, and we'll be ready to feature our cake with our chowder.
Perfect.
I think that is a meal fit for any one of us.
It is. I can't wait.
Okay. So we'll just set that aside, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Sounds great.
Okay, I think our cake is about, the buzzer's ready to go off, and we've got our frosting here, so
Okay. There we go.
go right over here. Turn off the buzzer, and I'll have you open up the oven.
Oh, look
You
at
know,
that.
take out the cake there. Okay, let's just
Set it up there.
see here. I'm gonna just, oh
Do the cake
my,
test.
that's right, comes out clean. So that looks really great.
Oh,
So we're gonna, you can wait till that cools a little bit, or we're gonna just go ahead and frost that. We'll put that on, and then that frosting is gonna kind of set up a little bit, you know, with the marshmallows and that in there.
sure.
And
And it's not as quite. I did take a little sample taste,
Oh.
you know, because I just do that. But it's not as sweet as some of the ones that you can buy in the store.
it with the marshmallows and the semi-sweet chocolate chips, it is just really good. It's almost like a fudge, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so we have that there, and let's go get a bowl of our zucchini garden chowder. You know, and it's just such a wonderful consistency here. You know, and if you certainly, you know, depends on how you like it. If you need to add a little bit more water, if you want it a little bit thinner, and that you certainly can.
Okay.
And just add a couple of saltine crackers to that. And, well, we don't want to pick up the cake.
No, it is quite hot.
It is.
That would be something I would do, but
But we won't on the air, will we?
no.
So when we're featuring this here, just look, doesn't that look?
It's scrumptious.
Just
It's
looks
absolutely
wonderful.
Great. To get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, www.ctctel.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for you. As always, thank you to the Workshop for being our sponsor. Thank you so much and have a great day.